Welcome back, everyone. So, Kamigawa Neon Destiny is, I believe, about a month away, if not a little bit more. I don't really remember the actual release date. I believe it's like February 22nd, I think. I'll double check that. But anyways, Kamigawa is coming up soon, and you guys know what I'm about to do. I'm going to start dropping a bunch of lore on different characters, and with Kamigawa, I'm probably going to actually be talking about events that happened in Kamigawa, because there was a lot going on in that 3-set block. Too much to cover in just one video alone, and in one character alone, because the plane is huge, and there is so much happening there during this period of time that we get to see Kamigawa. Now, before we get into today's video, just want to let you guys know, if you like my videos, please go ahead, hit that like button down below. If you want to see more of my content, please hit that subscribe button, and then ring that notification bell to be notified whenever new videos come out. Now, without further ado, let's jump on into today's main topic. Today we're going to be talking about Toshiro Umezawa. Now, Toshiro Umezawa is a legendary samurai from, I believe it's Betrayers of Kamigawa, when we first see the card printed. Now, he's not the first Umezawa we've seen printed in the game. We originally got a printing back in Legends of, I believe it was, I don't remember the character's name off the top of my head. So, but here's the card right there. And that's, Grixis. Pretty good card. Super expensive for some reason, probably because it's Legends. Hasn't been printed again. But yeah, so you have this character, Toshiro Umazawa, or we're going to call him Toshi as the rest of the video, because that's what he was called in the stories that I was reading, to make it easy. Now, Toshi is originally from Kamigawa, but we see his descendants also on Dominaria, and we're also seeing a fresh new printed Umezawa on Kamigawa, so that means he was not the last of the bloodline. There's still more here. Now, who is Toshiro Umazawa? Toshi Umezawa was a samurai who then later became a Ronin and a bandit. Now, as a skilled hand-to-hand fighter, or a skilled fighter with a sword, he was also skilled with a magic ability called kanji. Now, I'm not 100% sure what kanji are. They don't dive too much into how it works in the lore, but it's just a type of magic that Toshi uses, and he's very adept with it. And on top of his excellent swordsmanship, it helps him get out of a lot of sticky situations. So, now, we know that he is a Ronin. Let's just call him a Ronin, because that's what he is. Who are some of his affiliates? Well, he works with Hitaregu. I believe that's how you say his name. He worked with him, as well as his apprentice, which we never actually got a card for. I don't remember the name off the top of my head, but he doesn't last long in the story. Spoiler alert. Anyways, so Toshi also plays a very large and pivotal role in the story of Kamigawa. Now, the overarching story of Kamigawa is around what is known as the Kami War. So the Kami War is basically, I'm going to do a longer video, more in depth on the events of the Kami War at a later time. Now, the Kami War is basically a big event where Lord Kanda of Ejido, I believe, stole a precious item, we will say, from Okadashi, cards right here, folks, who is the 5-colored dragon spirit that is considered the god above all kami. He's a god. And so Kanda stole this artifact, which we called that which was taken, which made him indestructible and unkillable and everything. So, because he wanted eternal life to basically rule Kamigawa, which him stealing this prompted the Kami War, because Okadachi wanted his child back, or his thing. Anyways, we'll get into it a little bit more later. But this conflict started to ensue, which started bringing more Kami and more spirits into the realm of Kamigawa, into the mortal plane on Kamigawa. Now with all these spirits and everything coming in, you know, it's made life for the usual people, the everyday run-of-the-mill people, a little hard, a little difficult. But it also kind of boosted some other people because they got more jobs. Toshi was one of them. Toshi and Hisaregu ran a gambit of legal activities. They were not exactly the nicest people on the block. But it's fine. They did their thing. Now, what makes Toshi very, very interesting is that, yes, the card is generally a black mana card. And you look at black and you see ambition and power. You know, that tends to be what they crave. But he does something very outside of being an ambitious and power-hungry person, which is he plays a very pivotal role in ending the Kami War. Now, how he does this is during the time of the Kami War, he meets up with, I believe her name is Mikaku. I'm only going to say it once. The rest of the video, she's going to be called the Princess. Now, she's the daughter of Lord Kondo. She escapes and is trying to find a way to end this war between her father and this god so that they can bring peace to Kamigawa. In her journeys, her and her party travel to the forest of, I believe it's called Jukai. And in Jukai, her party meets Toshiro and Hitsuregu's apprentice. I don't remember his name right now. I'm just gonna call him the apprentice. She meets Toshi and the apprentice, and then they eventually get actually captured by the Okadachi, which are, or I don't remember. I don't think that's how you say that. Anyways, they get captured by the snake people that call Junkai home, the forest of Junkai home. They get captured by the snake people. The apprentice unfortunately loses his life because he was assassinated by a character. I'm gonna put the card here. I can't pronounce that name to save my life. Don't ask me. Please don't ask me to. So this assassin has spent this entire time at Toshi and this apprentice. She's been hunting down those two. And she eventually finds them in the forest, kills the apprentice by making him basically drown. And then tries to go after Toshi, which Toshi fends her off with his kanji magic, and eventually escapes with the princess into one of his old hideouts in Jukai Forest. Now, while they were in the hideout, a couple things happen. For one, the Kami of the Crescent Moon, I don't remember his exact name, but he shows up and he tells the princess about her birth. We'll get into that later. So he tells the princess about her birth. And then Toshi meets Miojin of Knight's Reach. Now this is actually a big turning point in Toshi's kind of story here. So the Miojin kind of likes Toshi and decides to take him under its wing. Her wing, whatever. Takes them under her wing and enhances his kanji magic, and also enhances his ability to kind of shadow step, which I'll call it that. I don't exactly remember what they called it in the story, but it's basically shadow stepping. He can travel through the shadows and be anywhere that there is a shadow. Now, Toshi and the princess get split up at a certain point, and he goes off and does his own thing. Eventually, he gets tracked down by the same assassin that killed the apprentice. And Toshi decides to send her and a couple of people to Hitsuregu for him to have his vengeance on them, which is kind of satisfying because he's like, no, I'm not gonna hurt you, but he will. Anyways, so Toshi does that, and then he decides, basically he eventually meets back up with the princess again, and she asks him, hey, I need you to help me in this war. And he goes, yeah, I'll do it for money. And she goes, okay. And in a weird way, he does kind of do that. But he comes with a price. So the Miojin of the Knight's Reach didn't want the Kami War to come to an end. The Miojin wanted to kind of extend the war as long as possible because it made them very powerful. They were very powerful beings, the Miojin. All the Miojin were actually able to traverse the actual multiverse itself. And the Miojin of the Night's Reach did this a lot. Like, she was a full-blown planeswalker without having the spark. So, but this is also, keep in mind, folks, this is pre-mending. So, the Kami War happened before the mending in Dominaria that hit the rest of the multiverse. So, knowing that this Kami War is coming to an end, their powers were being diminished, but Toshi still kind of did his thing for the Miojin. Every time she would ask him to do something, he would still do it for her. So, being a little, I want to say, like, excuse me, I want to say happy with his work, but at the same time, not too satisfied with the outcome, decides to reward Toshi. Now, how does she reward him? She sends him from Kamigawa to Dominaria and then blinds him. That is her reward. That is his reward for helping end the Kami War. Now, some people, everyone knows, this wasn't the end for good old Toshi. No, he still had his abilities. He was still very, his magic with his kanji magic was still very strong. He was still able to shadow step and walk through shadows, and in his own way, kind of see. Don't really remember how they explained it, but he was basically able to, make a living, and be able to build up his family on Dominaria, which, as we all know, led to the rise of the Umezawas on Dominaria. Eventually, Nuka Bolas took over their territory, and eventually, one of the descendants of Toshi killed Nico Bolas's main body while he was outside, or helped kill Nico Bolas's body while he was outside his meditation realm, which leads to the Umezawas being persecuted on Dominaria because Bolas's agents were still around the area for a long time. But that's, at this point in the story, we thought we were done with Umezawas on Kamigawa, that he was the last of them. But we are wrong. So we have Teshiro Umazawa coming in Neon Destiny. He is a blue, black, and generic for legendary human ninja. I'm not going to read the rest of the card because it's not a breakdown about him. But I think it's super awesome to see this family bloodline blooming and still going on these two separate planes and living very similar lifestyles, because let's be real here. If they're Toshi blood, they're gonna do their own thing. But let me know what you guys think down in the comment section below. I didn't go too deep into all the details of the overarching story of Kamigawa back in the day. But I will be going over some of the bigger main events, as well as the Kami War itself. And if there is a character from Kamigawa that you want me to talk about, do a video on, let me know what you guys think, or let me know down in that comment section below. And as always, guys, play more games.